Hello, welcome to LifeTalk for May 18th, 2017. The year just keeps whistling past. I'm Mark Crutcher.
And I'm Renee Hobbs. Thanks for joining us.
We didn't have a show yesterday.
We didn't.
What happened to us yesterday?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either. Time just kind of got away from us.
Yeah.
Anyway, we continued to ask you guys to send in questions that you might have that would create a show for us, something that you want to hear addressed, and we got one.
Yep, that's a good one.
I think it was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Actually, this guy is not only a viewer of LifeTalk, but he is he recently read my book, Siege. That's my latest book that's out right now. And we talk in there about Obamacare and socialized medicine and the way it plays into the abortion issue.
And I think where the pro-life movement's going in general is a wrap-up of the book.
Right, and where we need to go in the future.
And it's an excellent book.
But in this particular case, we did a deal. He was talking about the conscience clause that doctors have traditionally had, that they don't have to participate in an activity they find morally objectionable, in this case, abortion.
Right, that was passed after Roe versus Wade in '73.
Right. Well, we have attempts by the other side, and we've talked about them here. We talked about them just a couple of shows ago, to do away with these conscience clauses, because the problem that they're having is the abortion industry is collapsing because they can't get enough people to go to work in these death camps. And in effect, we've laughed about it here before. In effect, what's happening is they're being killed by choice. The thing that they've survived on all these years, and they've always said, we're not trying to force abortion, we're not advocating abortion, we're not pushing abortion. This is all about choice. But now there's two things. First off, they're pushing for government funding, which they always said they wouldn't do. So what happened to your choice or my choice?
We don't have a choice.
Not to pay for
our
abortion.
Taxpayer, our money goes to that for sure.
But the second thing is they're saying medical professionals should not have the option of not participating in abortion. So they don't have a choice.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, they're saying if you get into any kind of profession, go to radiology where you don't have to terminate a pregnancy.
That you won't even be dealing with a pregnant woman.
Right.
Right. So anyway, this guy writes in and he says, well, if these people are trying to do away with these conscience clauses, could a physician under Obamacare, which is still, of course, in existence right now, could a physician just simply refuse to see women who might be pregnant? And therefore, he wouldn't have to deal with the possibility of either having to participate in abortion or refer for abortion or give advice on abortion or whatever.
Right.
And the simple answer is no.
Absolutely not.
Here's the problem that people need to think about on this government health care is, once it's fully implemented, and once all the options to it have been eliminated, which they are slowly doing state by state, you've got a lot of states now who are down to one insurance company. I think Oklahoma, just north of us, is down to one insurance company.
Or none.
Or none.
They're going to none now.
They're going to none. And what this is all about, and what it has always been about, is a single payer system.
It has.
Since day one, that's what this has been about. I think, and I think if you look at it and see what's happened since Obamacare came into existence, and even in the run-up to it, they never intended for Obamacare to be the final answer. This was always about, I think Obamacare was intentionally designed to fail. I think these people, they had to be smart enough to know that this thing had no chance of succeeding, zero chance of succeeding.
Well, they've come out and said that.
Basically. And they said also that they put provisions into it that would make it almost impossible to overturn, which is what the Trump administration is finding right now.
Yeah.
And they agreed that that was true. I think they knew, I don't think there's any doubt about it. They knew all along it could not succeed. But they also knew that if they lured enough people into it, when it collapsed, you would not be able then to not replace it with something almost identical to it, or go to the single payer system. And I'm promising you right now, that's where we are. And if I were predicting something, and you've heard me say this, my wife and I and you had this conversation the other day, I think that within a year or two, the way things are going right now, Obamacare is going to totally collapse. And the Democrats and the godless left in this country, and the media, who's also part of the godless left, they're going to make sure that the Trump administration is not able to replace it with anything. The goal here always, and that's why they're so angry about this. They're not angry about Obamacare being replaced by Trump care, if that's what you want to call it. What they're angry about is that Obamacare might be replaced by something other than a single payer system. They don't care what the other system is. The goal always was, and even degenerates like Nancy Pelosi have basically admitted this, the goal always was a single payer system. And I think we're going to be looking up here. Obamacare is in the throes of collapsing right now. It is spiraling out of control. The healthcare costs in this country are bankrupting businesses, small organizations like ours. We provide healthcare to all our employees. The cost of it has just gone through the roof. That's what it was designed to do. It was designed to put us in a situation where we have no choice but to go to a single payer system. And I told you and my wife the other day, I think we're looking at the real possibility that within a year to 2 years, every person in America will be eligible for Medicare. That's what they're trying to do. That's what the goal is. Now, once that happens, then this man's question is, could a doctor simply just say, I won't accept, and he may say, I won't accept any female patients. Or even if I'm an OBGYN, and obviously all my patients are going to be female, I won't take any that might be pregnant or might be trying to get pregnant. That way I avoid the abortion issue altogether. I don't have to worry about the fact there's no conscience clause. I won't be put in that position. The answer is no, you will not be allowed to do that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because once this single payer system is in place, and it almost is this way under Obamacare, there's going to be an argument made, and it's going to go to a federal court somewhere, and they're going to uphold the argument that under a single payer system or under Obamacare, a physician, because they receive federal dollars, is in effect a government employee. And the left is going to come along and say, look, as a government employee, you cannot prohibit anybody, you cannot say, I will withdraw myself from being involved in a legal procedure that is available to the taxpayers who in effect pay your salary because you're a government employee. They're not. The analogy that I've drawn before, and I think I put this in Siege, it would be like, let's say, instead of a doctor under Obamacare or under a single payer system, let's say you work for the post office, right?
Right.
You've heard me make this analogy, right? And you say, there's an abortion clinic on my route, and I'm not going to deliver mail to that abortion clinic. You take a conscience clause position that you say, I will not deliver mail to that abortion clinic. They're going to come back and say, you're an employee of the government. If you don't deliver that mail, you're an employee of the United States Postal Service. If you don't deliver that mail, you're going to be fired.
You're fired, yeah.
You're going to be out.
Right.
So you'll have to deliver that mail or lose your job. Imagine that you've gone through a college degree, and you've had 8 years of medical school, and you've had a 4-year residency, or whatever the numbers are.
Right.
From the day you decide you're going to be a doctor till the day you become a doctor, I've got friends that are doctors. I've got members of my family that are doctors. It is an arduous, expensive task. Let's say you've gone through all this, and now you're a doctor.
Right.
Are you going to say, I'm willing to give up my career? Now, some people would, and we have met people like that. I will give up my career before I will have any participation in abortion. Yeah, so you'll just walk away and you'll go sell cars or whatever it is you want to do, but you're not going to be a doctor. That's what they're steaming toward, and that's what the destruction of all these conscience clauses that you've brought them up several times.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something that kind of irritates you.
Right.
That if you're a medical professional, you're not going to have the option not to participate in abortion. And that's where we're headed. That's where the Obama administration was pushing us. That's what Obamacare was about. And that's what the push toward a single-payer system is about.
Yeah, and that's what Mita was asking here. She goes, meaning doctors actively, openly refusing to perform abortions. And that's right.
Right.
I mean, they cannot refuse.
They won't be allowed to do that because they'll be in the same position as that postal worker who says, I won't deliver mail to an abortion clinic. They're going to come back and say, well, that's fine, but you just worked your last route. You're out. You're fired. And so they're going to be going into these doctors' offices, and they're going to be telling these people, if you don't participate in abortion, you're out. That's a legal procedure that these taxpayers who pay your salary are legally entitled to access. If you don't provide it as a government employee, you're out of here, just like that postal worker would be. So we've got to be realistic about this. We've got to see what's really happening here in our country. Our country is in deep trouble, and I think we all recognize that. And I think to some degree, the Trump administration walked into this a little naive. They didn't understand not only how much trouble the country's in, but I don't think they understood how absolutely nasty and vicious the American media is, the godless left in this country, and the Democratic Party. I don't think they truly understood. I think they were a little naive, and they didn't really understand how vicious and nasty and evil these people are.
Yeah. Pastor Patino, he said this is very sad, but what we miss as well is that the child is human too and feel, which is true. That's right.
Right.
They don't take that into consideration at all.
They don't care about that.
No.
They don't care about that. Again, you have to remember, and I get a lot of criticism even from people who are pro-life. These people are evil. This is not a contest between people that have one view like you and I and another view like these pro-aborts. It's not what it is. This is a contest between good and evil, and these people are evil. And the quicker we get off this Pollyanna view that a lot of pro-lifers have, that these are good people, we just disagree with them. And I hear this all the time on these political talk shows where they're trying to be collegial and have good relationships with these people on the other side. That's nonsense. These people are evil, and we have to recognize evil for what it is. And this is a perfect example of it.
Well, so how would we, this is the question, would it take mass civil disobedience? I mean, would that happen for...
It might.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows where this is headed? I don't know where we're headed with this. All I know is that we have to be constantly vigilant for what's really happening, not what we see on television is happening or what we conclude is happening or what we sit in our old Sunday school classes and think, oh, well, these are good people. Let's don't be harsh. They're good people. They're just wrong, or we just disagree with them. Let's see things for what they are, because that's the only way we'll be able to fight these people and defeat them.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're called to fight. We have to.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
not a choice.
We have to fight, but in order to fight and to be effective, we have to recognize who the enemy is and what the enemy is about. And this is a good example of it. And I appreciate this reader, this guy that read Siege and watches LifeTalk. I really appreciate your writing this in, because this is a subject that we talk about here all the time. And I don't think you, when we first started having these discussions, fully realized that the real goal was a single-payer system.
No, I didn't, but I do see it now.
You see now what they're doing.
For sure, yeah.
Once you see it, and it's like, I was watching one night on television, and I thought, somebody was defending Obamacare. They're talking about a single-payer system. They're not even talking about Obamacare anymore. They're talking about going to a single-payer system. And for me, it was like a light went on. You know, it was like, whoa, why didn't I see this before?
Right.
But that's what this is. This is what this was always about. Don't make any mistake about it. Anyway, we're out of time.
Yes. Any more suggestions, let us know. We love to talk about these kind of subjects. So.
Right. And we'll be bringing them up on our own, even if you don't suggest them. But if you have something that we always want to be a service to our viewers, and if you have something that's on your mind, please let Renee know so we can, or call somebody, just call the office or send an email to Renee, or how else can they get a hold of you?
Well, just through Facebook, private message, or my email, or Life Dynamics. You can find all of the information there, the phone number, and
right. But let us know what's on your mind so we can address this, because we're fortunate. It's not that we're smarter than anybody out there, but we're fortunate that we get to see this every day, because we work in it, we're immersed in it every day. So we see aspects of it that if you're not in it every day, you don't see. So anyway, be sure and keep us posted. In the meantime, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how the killing stops. We'll see you next time.